CeeLo, how you doing?
I'm good, man. What about yourself?
Maintaining as always, brother. Maintaining.
I like that. What that shirt say though?
We got to stop. So this is a movement I created back in 2016 that I've been working on ever since. So I have a little paraphernalia, some hats, shirts that I have.
Yeah.
So yeah.
That's gonna be very interesting. So today's episode, what we're gonna be talking about is the importance of knowing yourself. And before we even proceed, can you introduce the people to yourself, man? Let them know who you are.
Oh, definitely. Well, on my movement, I'm known as Brother Dose, D-O-S-E. The meaning of that is as anything as when we deal with medicine or any type of information, it's best to get it in doses as opposed to a whole big situation. You want to get it in doses so that it helps remedy your ailment or your needs or, just to get you better. So I took on that persona with We Gotta Stop. So a lot of people know me as Brother Dose. My government name is Darrell McCants. I've been in entertainment back in the early 90s. I was doing a lot of recordings with a few artists that you may know of today, like my boy Pharaoh Monch.
Oh, for real?
Yeah, I went to high school with Pharaoh. I went to high school with Flex Alexander, comedian Flex Alexander. I got a few brothers, brother Madhu of Madhu Entertainment. He's actually in Power. Yeah, the Raising Canaan.
Oh, he's in Power?
Yeah, he's one of the brothers that come in. He's the superintendent of the building. He's a dark-skinned brother. I think his name is Terrence on the show. I'm not sure. I may be wrong about that, but I went to high school with that brother as well. Went to high school with another well-known brother, especially through the Nation of Islam. His brother, this brother name is Kenny Muhammad. He's like the human orchestrator, like the human beatbox.
Wow. That was big in the day too, right?
Huh?
Being able to beatbox was very big back in your age, right?
I'm talking about the 80s. I mean, let's go back and date it a little bit. I performed on stage with that brother. And actually my partner, to give y'all a little background on how deep it goes for me, my MC partner, my name was MC Case.
Okay.
My boy name was DVS, meaning devious. He is the first cousin of Biggie Smalls. So that was my rapping partner back then.
Wow.
Okay. Kenny Muhammad was our beatbox man. Okay. We did a live performance. I went to the High School of Art and Design in New York City. We did a live performance for the talent show. So, that's where the beginnings of a lot of stuff happened for me in high school, getting knowledge of self with the 5% Nation, things of that nature, and always just digging for information, digging for knowledge, and being submerged in the culture, especially hip hop culture, because at that time, we were on the rise of it, like the very beginning of hip hop moving forward to what we know today. So we saw all of that, like from Zulu Nation. You go from Zulu Nation, you go to the Jungle Brothers. Yeah, you go through all the history. I mean, native tongue, like, you got Zulu Nation, native tongue, all that stuff, man. We was around that. These guys used to come to our high school. I went to high school with Kwame, the rapper. Okay. I used to battle with that brother at the lunch tables. Yeah. So I have a full sense of when I speak about culture and history of my generation, I'm proud of that, and that's pretty much the background on me.
Let me ask you this. I heard you mention something about the culture. Do you feel like in this day and age, 2023, do you feel like it's misrepresented now than what it was back then?
I wouldn't say it's misrepresented. And I'm gonna take it in this sense, because I know you probably hear a lot of the older heads getting at the younger dudes now and kind of putting them down about where they're taking hip hop.
Right.
I look at hip hop as an ongoing, ever-changing movement. And the energy is right where it's supposed to be for the brothers of today.
Okay.
You know, I respect a few of them. I ain't gonna say I love all of it, just like I didn't love all of my hip hop. Let's be real. All of my hip hop wasn't the best. Mm-hmm. But you have to look at where we are right now and where the brothers are right now and the sisters that are in it right now.
Right.
They're taking that energy and they're vibrating where they are because they only know what they know and they're taking it from that point forward. The only thing I find that I don't like is when you are dismissive of the past. You know, you can't omit the past or not know the history and try to reap what you have today. Mm-hmm. So it has to be respect given on both ends. Me as an elder, giving to the young youth and supporting them because I love what they're doing. I love the fact that they have instant access to getting on and getting the bag. Right. You know, I'm not mad. I don't hate nothing that these young people are doing.
Right.
But in the same token, I like for them to acknowledge, like, look, it came from somewhere and this is where it came from. Because when you don't know your history, you will repeat it. You know, you repeat past transgressions. So you want to make sure that we carry on the legacy and let it keep moving as it's moving.
You know, it's funny that you mentioned about that you actually repeat history like after the cycle. Like we see it every other year, but it's only so of a small percentage that actually, you know, recognize that because they're so caught up in the moment. They're so caught up in what's going on right now. And a lot of times, you know, from different generations, we were conditioned a certain way. But there were also some that knew like, oh, this ain't the way. It's a better way than what we're currently doing right now, right? The way that I see it now is like some people are still open to the change and actually changing themselves, but most of the time they just speak a lot about it. They just talk about it, but they don't really be about that action. But it takes a few people like you and myself and others around here to actually just change our own direction and change what we want to be, change our own environment. And once people start seeing that, they kind of start, you know what I mean, leading the way. Some of them kind of follow and get more into the groove of it, but then you got some that fall off the wayside. So my question to you is, how would you encourage people to, you know, continue to have a positive mindset about things, regardless of the times that we're currently in right now, or they may not be where they want to be at?
That's a very good question. And I'm glad you posed that question to me. I'm going to say this for anyone, especially our people. Mm-hmm. If you can identify with something that someone is doing in a positive light that you actually respect and that you appreciate, that you see in that person and you see their success, then use that person as a guide or use that person as someone that you can go to ask questions. Mm-hmm. You know, because what you were saying is basically some of us knew how to do better, yeah, and others didn't know how to do better because they only knew what they knew.
Right.
So it's up to the collective of us as a people when we are doing positive things, and we may have an influence on someone that we may not even be aware that we're influencing. If that young person comes to you seeking the knowledge, seeking the information, as the elder, you should give it to them. The one thing I regret and I see about past ancestors is that they didn't share the information the way they should have. They didn't give the way they should have because they were conditioned or they were taught that no one did anything for me, so why should I do anything for anyone else?
Yeah.
And see, when you pass on that type of mentality, it only stifles us and keeps us further back. Yeah. So again, if you're a young person coming up in the game or whatever you're trying to do in life, first seek those who are leading a way that you respect, yeah, and are leading a way of positivity that you're seeing results from that person, and then be giving of yourself to ask questions, and hopefully that person that you ask will give you the game. Bottom line, to give it to you.
Yeah, see, and I remember things like that as such as me asking somebody a question. Like I might be like, hey, how can I go about getting this type of loan or whatever it may be, business, whatever I'm trying to pursue, right? But they may know the information, but they decide to withhold it because they'll look at it like, well, I had a chance and I decided to take this path, and I don't think this person deserves it because of this and that. But it's like you really kind of just you blocking the way for other people to actually, you know what I'm saying, grow. But in the sense of not realizing you can grow within that process just because you went out your way to help somebody. And you ain't even have to, because I have to remind myself of that from time to time, where there's been plenty of times I would tell people stuff, but they wouldn't do it. And it's like, okay, cool. I might let somebody else know because I see something in them. Because you always have had times in your life where you've seen something that other things and people that they didn't even see in themselves. And I can speak the same for myself. People see stuff in me that I didn't recognize. And it took a couple of years for me to actually go, okay, let me harness this. Let me actually be aware of it, what's going on, and let me actually take the time out to dive deep into that and see where it can take me at, or what other doors can it open for myself. But I feel like we still got to go out here and gain this information. So it's just you sharing the most important things and aspects about life and how you can go about navigating it. It may not work for everybody, but what you're saying could potentially open up a door for somebody else, and that light bulb clicks on and they be like, oh, that makes sense now. That's why I've been holding myself back for so long. But I feel like it is important for some of the elders and other people to give out that information. But I think also too, just putting people in the right direction. That's why I use social media like that. Connection.
Well, no, definitely, man. And let's just piggyback off what you just said. Mm-hmm. A lot of times, you know where that comes from? It comes from ignorance.
Yeah.
You know, and it also comes from the fact of, not even the fact of the fear of you being a threat. Because if I give you this information now, you're going to leapfrog over me, or you're going to take what I have.
Yeah.
And to have that mindset is a backwards mindset, because no one can ever take from you what you've already created or installed.
Yeah.
It's already given to you. Okay. Now you got to look at it as if, hey, I'm, like you say, I'm bridging this gap because I put in 20 years, I put in 30 years. I'm not going to always be doing this. So why not give it to the next man or the next woman so that they could carry on and they could bring it to someone later on in life.
Right.
You know, so we have to condition or change the condition of our mindset. And we have to understand that what's made for you or what's designed for you cannot be taken from you. Right. Because the Most High is going to give it to you regardless. Mm-hmm. We are not in control of all that we think we are in control of. Right. There are some people, like you said, can walk in their truth and walk in their light of who they are, and not even know it. Yeah. Not even know that they're walking in that light, but you see it. Yeah. I could see something in you, and I said, that brother walking in his light. He's doing what he's doing. And you just naturally, that's how you are. Yeah. So, you know, we got to understand that we got to show some compassion, and we also got to change our state of mind to understand that each one will teach one to help one. And that's what moves it for us. If we don't learn how to change mindset, then we're going to be doomed, like I said, to repeat past transgressions, past mistakes, second coming of slavery, all those things. It comes a repetition because we are constantly saying, I'm not doing this. I'm not going to do that. Why not? Why not? Ask yourself, why aren't you going to do that? Is it too much of a challenge? Is it too much of a struggle? Is it too hard for you? If this is too hard for you, can you think back on how hard it was for the slaves back in the day? Yeah. We have an abundance of opportunity. It's just how to navigate and go to where the information is. And one place is right here. Yeah. You don't, so what you said, yo, if you go to somebody and they don't give it to you, go right here. You guys have the advantage with this.
It's right there.
That we didn't have, that my generation didn't have. I mean, now I could get on it, but I'm at an age right now that I'm good with what I'm doing. But for anyone that's coming up, you can't say you don't know something. Yeah. Or no one didn't tell you. If you can ask yourself the question, then you can find the answer.
Yeah, it's like you said, you know, it's as simple as people being able, like, I remember being in the habit where I was scrolling, but then I got to thinking. It just one day it just hit me. I was like, damn, I said, I've been scrolling damn near my whole life. I need to pick up stuff just like I might go to the library and stuff. So when I remember when COVID hit and everything was happening, I would start grabbing stuff from the actual ebooks from the library. Since I couldn't grab them physically, I would just check in, see what they got. And if I want to know something about it, I'll pull it up. And if they didn't happen to have it, then I would go to a whole other source. I would look around, but it made me think about when I used to be back in school and they would tell us, hey, if you're writing this book, we need to make sure you got somebody that's a source, because you don't want to get plagiarized putting the wrong information down on your report, even though the thoughts and the ideas are coming from you, but most of the information is coming from a whole nother source, right? So right. I feel like once you obtain some information, most of the time, it's like me, for example, when I wrote my book, once I experienced stuff, I did my research and I learned stuff, I started saying, okay, this is why this means this. So I need to figure out how I'm gonna be able to relay that information back. So somebody can be like, okay, he's basing this off his experience. Although this information, I can find this anywhere, but sometimes it may relate to that, relate to whoever may be reading at the time being. So hearing you say that, I wish more people would actually be more open to hearing that and knowing like, okay, you know what I mean? Like, okay, yeah, times are different. We got a lot more resources now, but you got to get yourself out of that slave mentality, because you're going to be stuck in it. And you're going to always complain and say the white man is white man. Yeah, they do stuff on the regular, but you can still win out here. And they be like, oh, this motherfucker know what he doing. He know how the world work. So they're not really going to mess with you like that. You know what I mean? Unless it's something like you interfere with millions and billions of dollars, and then that's a whole other different discussion.
Absolutely. Yeah. You know what? And I agree with you totally 100% on what you just said, brother. And the whole key of going back to this phone is, I'm not going to say that the playing field is even, but the playing field is open. It's open now. So what you're alluding to is, while I'm busy scrolling, I'm just scrolling. I'm just looking through things. But you know what I'm realizing all I'm doing? I'm just hypnotizing myself with this phone.
Yeah.
You're under hypnosis with this phone. People will walk around and be steadily fixated in that phone and not understanding what's going on, the transaction between your mental state and this AI technology. But what you did was you said, wait a minute, you disconnected for a second. You said, how can I use this to my advantage to free my mind and to create my own?
Yeah.
That's the key. Disconnect from being the scroller, disconnect from being the TikToker.
Yeah.
Start understanding what this can do for you to change you and to change your state of being.
Yeah.
You can use the technology if you understand what you're trying to use it for.
Yeah.
So I'm not going to say the playing field is even, but it is open.
Yeah.
It's up to you as the individual to see what you're going to do with what you have obtained through it.
Look, I'm going to tell you something, and it's funny because like I woke up this morning, right? And I got up, I was going to go to work. And something was telling me, sit for a minute. I sat for a minute, got ready to put everything on. Phone rung, we got a new supervisor. And what I had realized about him, you know, you get a funny feeling about stuff. You start noticing things that were going downhill. We had these two guys, that was outstanding, by the way. They left and went to a whole nother company. Better opportunity. You know what I'm saying? Anybody will, you know what I'm saying? If it fits you and it suits your situation, go for it. Because I'm the same way. What I had realized was they started cutting down on overtime. And what it reminded me of was when I was younger. It reminded me when I was younger, like I remember seeing these patterns. So what I started understanding over the years was, okay, when you see a particular pattern, you should go with your instinct. I've been putting stuff in since last year just because I've already gained the experience and the knowledge from what I do. I already took the other prior knowledge of what I knew and put it in a whole nother industry. But some of the things were similar, but it was different language barriers, right? And it's relaying back to the whole phone thing. Once I realized that, I said, dang, I started doing research. The last guy told me, he said, man, look into stuff in your field because you got things out here that can triple and double your pay, but it ain't about the fact that the pay is all on what you do with your time, most importantly, and how you want that money to, you know what I'm saying, pay even more for your time for a lifetime. That's what I'm aiming towards, you know what I mean? So
absolutely.
I say this, I had a talk with a guy, I heard him, I said, you know what, I said, I'm not feeling too well. Nothing wrong with me. I went with, you know what, let me value my time because I got the time for it.
Right. There you go. Hey, listen, it's amazing when certain things are revealed to you, you know, because it's like that light bulb comes on and you go, oh, wow, that's what I have to do. Perfect example. I was speaking to a brother, a family friend, and he blew my mind with how he thought.
Yeah.
And how he thought was like this. Now, I'm no expert in computers or technology, right? But this brother's been dealing with IT work and all kind of stuff in the in the field of IT and above.
Yeah.
He told me how he did it, right? And so I'm listening to this brother explain it. He said, man, you know what I learned? Mm-hmm. He says, like you were saying, when I was home and I was unemployed and I have all these degrees, but I'm not getting the type of jobs that I need to get in my field. So once I started looking in my field, I started reading what the requirements are. You know how when you read a job qualification, it says the requirements of the job, the description of the job. So he said, I started taking the information of each job that I was interested in, take that information, like cut, paste, cut, paste, cut, paste. Then he said, I went on the computer, looked up what they did, taught myself what they did, applied for those jobs. Hold up, this is the game. I'm giving y'all the game. Applied for those jobs without ever doing any of those jobs. I applied, got an interview. When I had the interview, how I did my resume, I went online again and looked at people that had resumes in those fields. I cut and paste their information of what they did and said, do you know DOS or whatever the terminologies are? You know this program? Do you know that program? He said yes, 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 and put it all in his resume. Didn't have a job in any of the field, but he studied every day, studied what they did. So when he went in for the interview and they asked him certain questions, he could answer it because he studied. Yeah, I know this does that, this does that. He played the game.
Yeah.
So it's amazing how some people's brains and how your will to do what you need to do will get you in certain doors that you may never thought you could get in. Right. So I'm just saying this in totality. Understand who you are and what you're about. Understand what you want and what your goals are. Then apply yourself to pursue it each and every day to continue to get better. It's just like if you want to be on the court dribbling, you practicing, right? All right. I want to get into IT or I want to get into engineering. I better get on here and start reading and studying what these people do. So I know, I could get better. I got to figure it out. There's programs on computers now that you can test yourself and figure it. There's ways of getting around the system to make the system work for you.
Yeah.
It's just how you apply yourself. So it's all about what's in you. How you gonna go about your life and get what you need to get out here. So that's my take on that whole situation.
I like that. One other thing before we leave and let you go, for the listeners, where can they find you online? How can they reach you if they happen to, want a service or a consultation or whatever it may be, whatever you specialize in? How can they find you online?
I'm formulating another company that's dealing with household goods. It's called Genial Goods, GENIAL Goods. I'm in the process of getting that up and running. You can look me up at Genial Goods at Gmail. We Gotta Stop at Gmail. And on Facebook, you can send me a friend request at Darrell McCants, and you can reach me in those areas at this time.
I like that. That's
and
nice.
Also, I want to say something before we go, brother. You see, I got this right here. Oh, excuse me. This right here is very inspirational. It doesn't have to be a huge book, but it's powerful.
Yeah,
this is powerful, and I thank you for making that book because it gave me something to read on, and it gave me the understanding that there's young brothers out here like you that have the insight and have the knowledge and is willing to dive into the mental state of being happy and
yeah,
your mind.
It's hard, man. I'm not gonna lie. You know, I kind of see how easy it is, you know, just to slip beyond the cracks, man, and just stay there. And I started noticing why so many just guys and other men out here was just, they're stuck in a slump. Like they just don't know their next move. They don't know what they're finna do with themselves. Like, you know, they just, like you said, they just know one thing. So I had to really sit back and, you know, figure out who I was a couple of years ago, because I got to experience so much in life at a young age and see so many different things to where I had a decision to either I could be over here or either I could be over there. You know what I mean? There's no in the middle, because after a while, you're going to choose which other direction you want to go in, right? And just seeing that, it just made me understand, like, dang, I come from a small town, Gainesville, Georgia. Just seeing that, I was just like, yo, I don't want to be another statistic here. You know what I mean? Like, I'm bigger than that, I'm better than that. But I would have people tell me that, but then would be the same ones that still just kind of stayed on that same path. And I was just like, bro, like, you got so much growth. And I just choose to go out my way. Like, real quick, I'm gonna make it short. Like, when was it? Yesterday, the other day, talked to a best friend of mine. He's older than me. He's like, he's dealing with the same mistakes. And I'm just like, bro, what are you doing? Like, I said, do you know that there's some people that call me, that I've had people in the past pay me for what you're asking me? And I'm sitting here telling you this for free. And I ain't even telling you because you're just my homie, nothing like that. Like, I want to see you win. But when I realize you continue to do that, like, that's just what you're choosing. And you don't realize, like, yo, it can be better than what you making it. You just making life so much harder on yourself. So I just had to wake up one day and really write down my goals and figure out who Turquoise is, what I stand for. And like you said, you know, walk in that light, but actually live in it. And I had a lot of men in my life and other mentors that actually inspired me and showed me, like, you know, there's better ways for you to actually live the life that you know, so that you need, not just what you want, you know?
Absolutely, brother. And I'm proud of you, man. And I just want to, in closing, I just want to say this, because a lot of times we don't share this information with one another. Mm-hmm. I don't care where you're from.
Yeah.
I'm from New York City, Brooklyn, New York, born and raised. You're from Gainesville, Georgia, right? We have to show love and unity with each other. Bottom line, period. I don't care where you're from, where you at. You know, unfortunately, you have a lot of egos within our own race of people. I'm from New York. I'm from LA. I'm from Chicago. All that doesn't matter. What matters is that we are all one.
Yeah.
We are Black people.
Yeah.
We have to learn to love on one another, men and women, especially our women. We got to let our women know that we are out here trying to do the best that we can do, not only for ourselves, but for our women and for our families. Yeah. Because that's very important, brother. And I just wanted to say that.
Nah, there's some great words to close with. And man, Mr. McCants, it was a pleasure, man. You dropped a lot of gems on here. Dropped some gems on me as well.
Hey, brother,
definitely opened up the nugget on that one, man. But again, y'all, this is Queasy Low Speaks podcast. And I had Mr. Darrell McCants. It was a pleasure. Y'all be sure to give him a follow, give him a friend request, and get with him if you need help with anything. But he's definitely the right man to speak to in regards to your situation, whatever that may be. Peace. Appreciate you again, man.